Good morning to you, Natalie. Behind me is the pharmacy where that shooting took place, and the question has been, was it self-defense or self-defense that went too far? The official verdict on that is in now, but it's controversial.
Defendant is guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
From the verdict, it was clear the jury did not buy Jerome Ersland's claim he acted solely in self-defense and recommended a harsh sentence.
Punishment is set at imprisonment for life.
The 59-year-old Oklahoma City pharmacist was found guilty of murdering 16-year-old Antwun Parker during a botched robbery in 2009. The incident caught on security cameras. Authorities say the video shows 16-year-old Parker and a 14-year-old accomplice entering the drugstore wearing masks. The 14-year-old points a gun at two female employees who run to the back of the store. Prosecutors say Ersland, the pharmacist, then fires his own weapon, shooting Parker in the head. The other teen with the gun flees the store, and Ersland chases him outside. When he returns, prosecutors say, he walks over Parker, who is unconscious on the floor, goes to the back of the pharmacy to get a second gun, then returns to fire 5 more shots into Parker's body, out of camera view. The prosecution called it an execution. But at trial, the pharmacist's lawyer claimed Parker was moving on the floor and was still a threat.
Defendant, please rise.
When the guilty verdict was read, it brought hugs and cheers from Parker's family. Ersland's supporters were shocked and angry. Websites popped up expressing outrage at the verdict, with thousands joining Facebook groups. Outside the drugstore, supporters are now signing petitions condemning the verdict. Now, Ersland's supporters say they will ask state parole officers and the governor to pardon him or commute that sentence, which will be imposed formally by a judge next month. Natalie?
All right, very interesting case there. Mark Potter in Oklahoma City, thanks so much.
So let me brief you guys on the story by reading portions of the article. This is from KOCO.com. It says Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater has filed new charges against 3 people in connection with a robbery and fatal shooting at a local pharmacy. Pharmacist Jerome Ersland already faces a first-degree murder charge for shooting Antwun Parker. Ersland said he acted in self-defense while Parker and another teenager tried to rob Reliable Pharmacy. Prater said he filed the murder charge because Ersland fired 5 additional shots into Parker after he was unconscious. Prater filed 3 first-degree murder charges against other individuals he said were connected to the robbery. Jevontia Ingram, 14, is accused of helping Parker in the attempted robbery. Surveillance tape indicated that Ingram had a gun. Ingram is also charged with robbery and conspiracy to commit a felony. Emmanuel Mitchell and Anthony Morrison are accused of helping Ingram escape the pharmacy. They both also face additional charge of firearm possession. Morrison remains at large. District Attorney Prater said that after researching the law, he found a charge that allowed those who didn't pull the trigger to also be charged with murder. Ingram's mother said that her son would not have thought to try to rob the pharmacy without older men putting him up to it. According to the probable cause report, Ingram said he had been contacted by a friend of his mother's and a cousin of that man, later identified as Morrison and Mitchell. The report said the 2 men asked the teenagers to take part in the robbery and gave them clothes. Ingram also said that he was given a gun that did not have bullets in it. Prater, the district attorney, said that if there are other people who are involved in the case, they could face charges as well. He said Ingram is being charged as a youthful offender, which means he could be charged as an adult later on. So here's my take on it. I don't know how much race played in this instance, because if I'm a business owner and I have two young guys coming in with guns drawn, I'm going to be prone to defend myself as well. And so I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the pharmacist pulling a gun on these two kids. I have no problem with him shooting at them. Where my problem comes in is when the kid is down. The armed one, the 14-year-old, was the one that was armed. And when the 14-year-old ran out of the store with the gun, he ran out after the pharmacist had shot the 16-year-old in the head, and the kid went down. And he's laying there unconscious. And the pharmacist goes behind the counter, finds another gun, and shoots, comes back over to the kid, stands over him, and pumps 5 more bullets into his body. And then he calls it self-defense. I have a problem with that. Because that's not self-defense. You're not defending yourself against anything. At this point, you are just enraged and shooting in cold blood. I have a problem with that. This is a young black kid, possibly made a mistake, possibly went along with his friend to see if they could pull off the caper, and ended up getting his life taken away by an overzealous pharmacist that very possibly had a pre-existing animosity towards blacks. But I have another problem. I have a problem with the mother of the dead robber, the dead would-be robber, because now she wants to sue the pharmacist. Number one, this man is going to jail for life. So how is he going to pay her? Number two, how much responsibility lies with her 16-year-old son who knew what he was doing was wrong? And number three, how much of this lies at her feet? After all, where was she when he was running the street? Why didn't she have a tighter grip on him? According to the probable cause report, the 14-year-old said he was contacted by a friend of his mother's and a cousin of that man. And if your child is hanging around people like this, you are responsible for keeping an overly watchful eye on your kid. And if need be, stop that kid from hanging out with those type of people. Period. It is up to you as a parent to put your foot down and say, you know what? I don't like that you've gotten in trouble with Johnny before. I don't like that, you know, his family is like this, that, and the other. You know, I don't feel comfortable around with you hanging around this crowd of kids. Whatever the situation is, when you see that there is trouble, and I'm sure this is not the first time that they've gotten caught with their hands in the cookie jar, so to speak. I'm pretty sure they've gotten in some kind of trouble, even if it was not on this level. So as a parent, you have to say, you have to put your foot down. And when you don't do that, these could be the consequences for your negligence. I'm so sick of people trying to find someone else to blame for their shortcomings. She failed as a parent. She failed as a protector. And she is going to fail in this lawsuit as well. She's a 3-time loser. Her son greatly contributed to his own demise, and the fact that this pharmacist was obviously out to kill does not take away from the fact that her son was shot in the commission of a criminal act. Like I said, I'm torn because there was wrong from all parties. I believe the pharmacist should have been armed and used his gun when faced with the armed would-be robbers. But I do not believe he should have went and shot the kid after the kid was down and not to mention unarmed. And that kid was wrong for trying to rob these people and surely contributed to his own death just by being there under those circumstances. And the mother of this kid has a cross to bear as well because of the company she allowed her son to keep. It's a fucked up situation all the way around. Because now you have a man in prison for life who was, at least at first, just trying to protect his store and co-workers. You have yet another black male gone. And he'll never see graduation. He'll never be at his prom. He'll never have a first child. And then you have the mother who will never watch her son grow into manhood and go off to college and have a family of his own one day. Nobody wins here. It's bad. It's all bad. It's all bad, y'all.